Hi again, friends. Doug Karsh at Yost Ice Arena, and this is Inside Michigan Hockey. Wolverines preparing for a weekend series with the Miami Redhawks. Redhawks taking all but 1 point in the first series between these two teams down in Oxford. Michigan coming off a bye week, and it's a bye week that is a goal for the Wolverines come the CCHA playoffs. Wolverines have clawed their way back into one of those top 4 spots in the league standings. Those top 4 teams getting first-round byes, and the Wolverines have that goal to try and make sure they are not playing on the first week of the playoffs.
The league's really close this year, which is the first time in my 4 years it's been this close. Obviously, from 7th to first place, I think it's 5 points. So, that can happen. We just have to battle and do what we can do. We can't control everything.
From here on in, it's definitely like a playoff atmosphere, and every game, obviously means a lot, and points are critical, just like you said. I mean, obviously, you take that weekend off and fall away to 7th, so this weekend's going to be a big weekend for us.
You can jump up with 1 win, you can fall down with 1 loss, especially with 2 wins and 2 losses, so that's why this weekend's so big.
All right, we're joined right now by the head coach of the Wolverines and coach players talking about having the week off. And a week ago, you wanted to get better as a hockey team without playing games this weekend. Did you accomplish that?
Well, we'll find out, Doug. It's been a week of practice, and now we're in our second week of practice without games. So I think there's a few areas that we'll be better at. Now, we'll have to wait and see, but with things that we practiced that we should have been better at before. But you know what? As the season goes on, it's just little things that make a big difference, and I think those are the things we're trying to get better at.
Those little things add up and maybe help the power play specifically?
Well, power play, we're coming off a pretty good weekend where we scored 3 goals on the road on the power play. And our penalty killing, we're trying to tweak that. And whether it's face-offs, forecheck, neutral zone, or D-zone coverage, those are all small parts of the game, but they're huge.
Work in the classroom, too. It's a chance to get caught up on schoolwork if necessary. And I know as a head coach, it's something you emphasize.
Well, it is. And Doug, if you're going to balance sports and school at this level, at this time of year in the stretch run, you've got to stay on top of school. And if you do, then you just feel better as an athlete when you walk in the rink. You've done what you're supposed to do in school, and now you lay it on the ice when you come down to the rink. And I think the combination is a good test for everyone, and the kids that balance it the best are usually the best student athletes.
How about Friday and Saturday night for Red Berenson? What did you do with your time off?
Well, I went to some hockey games, as expected, watching players that we have already recruited and watching some players that we might recruit. And then watching a little bit of the All-Star skills contest. I saw Carl skate naturally, and a little bit of the All-Star game, but that doesn't interest me as much. And then I'm watching some of the tape of teams that we're coming up we're going to be playing. So Miami in particular this week. So it's a busy time. Nothing changes for me except we didn't have the games.
Well, let's talk about Miami a little bit. This is a team that earlier in the year you played, lost a game, and then went to a shootout in a second game with them. What do you remember about that series?
Well, it was physical. It was intense. I mean, they're a good forechecking team. You better come out of your own zone clean. And they're good. They were supposed to be good on special teams. They're about like us, Doug. I think they're trying to find themselves. They've got a couple of top scorers, Smith in particular, Brendan Smith's young brother, the Red Wing draft. And he's got 19 goals at this juncture. Nobody in our team comes close. And so they've got some offense. They've got 4 senior defensemen. I mean, they're as good as anybody in the league. They got off to a rough start, and now they're playing well. I think they've won 6 out of their last 8.
Clawing back into one of those top 4 spots in the CCHA, how important is that first round bye?
Well, we'll see, but we want to finish on a good note. You want to be playing your best hockey, and we want to be able to put our best foot forward this Friday at home. And we've got 8 games left, Doug, and we have a shot at first place, and so does 8 other teams, because there are 9 teams that are within 9 points. And, only a few weeks ago, Ohio State had a big lead, and they only got 4 out of 24 points in the next 8 games. So this 8-game segment is going to be huge for Michigan, and we need to do well. And if we do well, we'll have something good to talk about.
Well, speaking of something to talk about, the players with no games to talk about a week ago had a chance to catch up with our Claire Stachel and talk about some of the nuances of the game.
The hockey team prepares for games with the typical team practices, proper nutrition, and of course stretching. But what usually goes unnoticed is the fine art of stick taping.
I think the point of taping your stick is so you have better grip with the puck. I believe. I don't know the exact science behind it, but if you try like stick handling without the tape on, I think it falls off easier.
I just like it being fresh. I like the feel of it when it's new.
And then before the game, I know you said you tape then, and in the periods, where do you tape your stick? Like out here, in the taping room, in your locker room?
Usually in the tape room where you guys met with Lee there.
Yeah, so this is our stick room. Just a lot of stuff I was talking about earlier. You got your vise right here. Put the stick in there, get it going. This is kind of like a grip stick. So you put reverse tape on there and rub it up and down your shaft. Gives you a little stickiness to it.
Players tape their blade in a unique way. Some remain sitting while others stand. One even adds some flair with a flip of the stick. Look at how you spin your stick around. Most guys just move the tape around the stick.
I don't know, I like to see both sides of the stick, so.
Would you say that that's kind of more of a perfectionist?
I guess so. I guess you can call it like that.
Usually I just rip off some, get some clean batch going here, then lay it down here. Then I'll just keep wrapping around until I get to the end of the blade.
So right now you're taping from heel to toe.
I'm out so bad start here. Yeah, I think you just go for it.
I see that you use black tape just like everybody else. Have you ever used any color tape, or why do you use black?
Well, some say like for the puck, it's tougher for the goalie to see the puck on their stick, so that's why a lot of people use black tape.
Black on black, why not any bright other color?
I don't know. I think they're trying to hide the puck, I guess, is the theory behind it, but I think a lot of good scorers use white tape too, so I'm not exactly the best scorer on the team, but I guess that's the idea behind it. So the goalie can't pick up the puck as easily.
Despite many similarities, like the use of black tape and the use of the stick room, some go against the norm and, of course, dare to be different. What do you think about Lee's knob on the end of his stick?
I think it's disgusting.
What would the top of your stick be called?
This is the knob of the stick, I believe. I guess it's pretty large. A lot of guys don't like it. I kind of take a little bit of grief from it from guys on the team, but I like it. I like the way it fits. Just hold my stick right there, and it feels pretty nice.
Now, when you're at Yost and spot that black tape meticulously wrapped around the stick, you will know the behind-the-scenes story. For Inside Michigan Hockey, I'm Claire Stachel.
All right, so Coach, did you have a particular style for taping your stick?
I always taped it from the heel to the toe, and I usually covered the whole stick, and I always used black tape. I didn't like white tape. I thought that was for whatever, players that were worried more about the color of the tape than they were about how they played. And now that's a long time ago, but that's how I tape my sticks.
What about players taping between periods? Did you ever do that?
Well, I did if my tape was all messed up. If something had happened and it got ripped or torn and it needed retaping. But I remember just taping over the patchwork at some point. I don't think I was as fussy about it as some players are.
Were you a superstitious player?
No.
All right, let's talk a little about the skills competition you mentioned earlier. To see Carl Hagelin go out and win the fastest skater, this is a guy you had here a year ago. We knew he was fast. Did you think he was that fast?
I really did. It depended on the route, how they were lining up the skaters, how many turns there were, and how many straightaways, how important the start would be. But I thought Carl was good in all three of those. He was quick off the mark. Maybe a little too quick on the one, but he got the jump. He is a quick-footed skater. And then on the straightaway, he was as good as it gets. And then on the turn, his crossovers, whether he went to the right or to the left, and he did both, he more than held his own. And I thought he showed on TV with the NHL All-Star. I mean, there's a lot of pressure there. Not a great warm-up, but he did that for 4 years at Michigan, so I wasn't surprised.
Did you find yourself cheering for him? Were you yelling?
Oh, no question. I mean, I just knew he would win too. Like and good for Carl. There was no slippage, no excuses. He went out and just did it. So good for him.
Did it create some buzz in your locker room?
Well, I'm sure it did. And the thing I told our team, it wasn't that Carl won the skills contest, but he skated unconditionally hard at full speed for 4 years at Michigan. Not once in a while, not just when we had conditioning skating or breakaways or anything like that. He did it every game, whether he was forechecking, back-checking, whether he had a breakaway, no matter what. That's how he skated. And so this is nothing new for Carl. He's used to doing this.
Coach, thanks for your time.
Good. Thanks, Doug.
And don't forget, immediately following games this weekend against Miami, log on to mgoblue.com for post-game reaction. So here on mgoblue.com, we'll see you next week for Inside Michigan Hockey.